Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the November 2019 Metal Investors Forum in Vancouver. I'm here with Tom Ullrich, the CEO of Aston Bay. Aston Bay picked up a really interesting project in Virginia, I guess early this year. They did one drill program on it so far, small drill program, 6 holes, but it generated a lot of very, very good results. I'll get Tom to reel off a couple of them, but good, multi-meter, high-grade gold results, also some bulk tonnage results. And these results came from a fairly small area, and then you went back and negotiated an agreement for a much larger land area. And you did that because you knew there was a lot more trend there from past work by a major, right, that was never followed up on.
Yeah. Well, this was all really happening at once. It takes time to get these things together. Yeah, but certainly no. We were following up on essentially a golden stream anomaly that BHP had worked up back in the 90s, early 2000s. And again, that was Don Taylor who was doing that work as a manager at the time. 15 kilometers of gold, actually gold in the pans. They were doing heavy mineral concentrate, so actual flake, nice rough flake gold in the pan. And when you see those raggedy gold flakes, you get a little more confidence that you're closer to the source. Right. And of course, to have it in every stream across a 15-kilometer long trend, pretty significant, right. And of course, then they did follow it up. They were able to get access to about a 5-kilometer stretch. In the United States, you don't go on private land unless you have permission, of course. Yeah. And they got 5 kilometers they got to look at. They ran 13 soil lines across there. Significant anomalies. All the soil lines were anomalous, up to 0.4 grams. In soil. To be honest, I think that's not really a soil. That's you're sampling rock there, so you're very close to a source. When everything's coming up gold along a trend, you've got to be pretty excited, and that's a pretty significant trend. Of course, BHP walked away. They walked away from exploration in North America.
That was part of that was they exited North America, but yeah. I don't imagine BHP's primary interest probably wasn't gold.
Probably not. No, I think they were probably looking for the base metals at that time. Right. But certainly it was something interesting. And of course, that's when BHP left. Don Taylor left BHP. He started his own private company looking for gold and base metals in Virginia, and just following up on that trend, came across what we're calling our Buckingham Gold project, and. Essentially, it's about 150 meters of quartz vein sticking out of the ground. It's a very weathered surface here. This area has been sitting at the surface tens of millions of years on essentially a coastal plain here. So right. the weathering is very deep. It's very much like the tropics, but small area where we can see the gold vein sticking out of the ground, visible gold. Pretty spectacular. Some of the select grab samples up to 700 grams per ton. I think that's over 20 ounces, right? So yeah. That's pretty significant. And even me, like the first time I walked up to that the outcrop, the very first rock I picked up, and it wasn't placed there for me, but right. I picked it up. I could see visible gold with my naked eye, which right. is pretty spectacular.
And then you went in, you did the small drill program. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of really good intercepts. I mean, it was actually impressive how many good intercepts you got from such a small drill program.
Yeah, no, we got a couple intercepts of over 20 grams per ton. Over lengths of I don't want to lie here because it's easy to get these numbers all mixed up because they're all good. But 3.3 meters of 20 grams, 3.5 meters of 25 grams, and within that 1.4 meters of over 60 grams. These are significant high-grade intercepts.
They're great intercepts, and then you went back and you expanded it, and I guess now you've got guys doing tighter soil lines, I think.
Yeah. Well, actually, on our original Buckingham property, which was quite small, 80 acres. No work had been done outside of drilling underneath the obvious veins sticking out of the ground. In the drilling, we do see some suggestions of perhaps some parallel zones, and it's kind of what we expect to see here. These gold these systems tend to pinch and swell, and you don't generally have zones. So really, that's what we expect. That's what they see down at Hale, in South Carolina, and we think we're on the same kind of trend there. So we are doing a very detailed soil sampling program right now. We've picked up 5,000 acres around that small little vein.
Okay.
And again, so we're trying to take that, that 150 meters, and now look at the 5,000 meter trend that we have there.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room here for this thing to get bigger. There's a lot of room for other discoveries. I mean, I think this is a project in a decent gold market, which I think we still have.
Yeah.
That I think the market should really be able to get excited about. I was very impressed with the first set of holes for basically a 1,000-meter drill program. You generated a lot of really good intercepts. And your sense is, I mean, geophysics and drilling, when it's all saprolite, so you might literally trip over a vein sticking out of the ground. But
Absolutely,
this
yeah.
is pretty weathered in that part of the world.
It is, but at the same time, it seems amazing that this vein that we're working right now, again, nobody had touched it, till 2015 when Don came back.
And yeah, because I guess the whole state, which was a significant gold producer back in the day, back before the California gold rush, I guess back before the Civil War too. I mean, there's nothing going on there. It was all.
Yeah, well, I think it's been difficult to put together a land position that's big enough in order to, to do the sort of the more modern major mining, like the kind of thing they're doing down at Hale. Working a small 80-acre property, it could be profitable, but it's not going to be, not going to move your market, right?
Right.
You need something bigger. But luckily, with a bit of consolidation in the timber industry and a little bit of perseverance to get some deals done, we've been able to get that a deal done now with the biggest timber company in the United States. So that's now allowed us to take what is a small, interesting play and perhaps make it into something much bigger. Now we have 5,000 acres around our initial drill program that also contains that 0.4 gram in soil number, which that's not from this drilling. It's quite a ways away. It's definitely another target, and a lot of potential there. And that's just our Buckingham play down there. This is a new discovery. It's very much, we think it has more affinities to the Hale style of mineralization than it does to the traditionally mined gold mines in the area, which is what they call the Virginia pyrite, gold pyrite belt.
Right.
But we've picked up some land there as well. We think that's got fantastic brownfields potential because, again, really nothing has happened in this area since 1850, between the California, Klondike, Yukon gold rushes, and of course with the Civil War kind of right there. Yeah. Really, there's not much could be done. But now we can go back and use techniques that they just didn't have back then. With obviously geochemistry, outside of gold panning, but we have much more sophisticated geochemistry. That is critical to seeing through some of that deep weathering profile. We can really get high grade, get better targets for drilling. Geophysics, of course, they just did not have that, and we expect that these gold veins might respond very well, resistivity to the IP geophysics, and with IP we also think we can get a chargeability anomaly as well for the more disseminated mineralization that we see as well.
Yeah, because you've got bulk tonnage title as well as the high grade veins sort of surrounding them.
Yeah. And then of course we can drill. In
Right.
1850 you didn't drill. It was exploration for them is you get on a vein and you mine it until it stops or pinches out or gets too deep, and then what do you do next? They didn't really even have access to geology in this area because there is so little outcrop, so a couple percent outcrop where we are. So if it was faulted right or left, how far you wouldn't know, and you couldn't just do something simple like run an IP line or do some geophysics and then drill it to see if there's anything significant there. Right. They didn't have that, and then it goes on. The pumping technologies that we have, with mining, all those the historic mines there, 100 feet, 125 feet deep. That's as deep as they could go. Yeah. Great brownfields potential there. And then you start bringing in some of the new processing technologies. These these kinds of gold deposits will often have a halo of perhaps lower grade mineralization, which 150 years ago it was just not economic. But
Right.
of course now we could have some significantly mineralized halos. As
Well, one thing worth noting too is, I mean, you're doing this work over a broader area. You're doing a financing. Once you go in there to drill, it's not like dealing with, you know, U.S. Forest Service land or something where it's an endless process to get drill permits. Essentially, because it's private land and you've got the agreement with the landowner, you can pretty much just go and drill.
Pretty much have at it. Yeah, there's no permitting required for drilling. You know, and we did it this spring. I signed the original Buckingham property at the beginning of March, but I was drilling by the end of March. You know, without really, and the only delay was this is my first drill program in the United States. I had to find drillers, and it came together very quickly. But the next programs, it's literally just a couple day wait, just get the drillers going, and not only for just in the straight exploration phase. When you want to ramp something up, this is a fantastic situation. You know, if you need to put 6 rigs on something, you want to work it up quickly, you just go and do it.
Yeah.
So it's great that way.
You know, it's a great story. I mean, I think it's quite underappreciated right now. I think you should do yourself a favor. Take a look at the last couple of news releases with the drill results from Virginia, from Aston Bay. It's a couple of really good sets of drill results. And I think once Tom gets going again on this expanded land package, there's going to be a bunch more results like that, which I think is really, that's what this market wants. That's what I think Tom's probably going to be able to deliver. So Aston Bay, BAY on the venture, take a look.